Today's episode is brought to you by Organifi. Organifi is an organic superfood supplement line that makes quality, trusted nutrition convenient and accessible. Their most popular product, green juice, solves the problem of juicing greens on the go. Just add water, drink, and let your body soak up the benefits. Visit Organifi.com, that's Organifi.com, to learn more about an exciting offer for you, our podcast listeners. Today's show is brought to you by HelloFresh. If you're like me and look at the Food Network and all these channels and watch all these gourmet meals and just lust after them, let's just be real, you're lusting after them. Guys, we have a solution for you. HelloFresh does all the shopping, the planning, and delivery. So all you have to do, guys, is put this meal together, and they give you the instructions as well, so you can create the gourmet meals in the luxury of your own home. So use the code SUCCESS30. Success30. Just go to HelloFresh.com and use that code Success30 to get $30 off your first week of HelloFresh. So make sure you check it out. And now to today's show.
I wake up every single day. I am who I say I am. And I get what I get because I live in beast mode. Stop being gazelles. You're not average. You're not even good. You were born to be great.
What's going on, world? Welcome to another edition of the Secret to Success podcast. I'm your host, CJ, joined as always by the Bayesian sensation, Mr. Carl Wesley Phillips.
What is going on? What it do? What
and
it do?
Dr. Douglas Thomas.
Peanut
What's
butter and
going
jelly
on,
crackers,
doctor?
baby. Making it work.
What is it? Y'all have a little cold front coming through there. I'm just checking on y'all, make sure
66,
y'all all right.
Little sweater boy.
You should see a picture of me literally right now. I got a jogging suit on with a blanket over my shoulder, sitting down in a room with the door closed.
Well, that's that Bayesian blood kicking in now. You done took it too far with the island blood. It's 64. You supposed to be letting the window open, just let a nice little breeze come through there. You good to go?
No breeze. No, we good.
No breeze at all?
Hey, or go super urban and leave the oven on. Put the oven on 350, make some cookies.
Oh, now that's
Just
next
sit in the
level.
kitchen all day.
Yeah. You could bake you some chicken and have the house warm. I love it. Yeah, whole house smelling like turkey legs. Yeah, I love it. What's going on, man? What are y'all up to? Talk to me, man. I'm over here trying to get ready for this move. We have about 9 days until we move, man.
Praise
it is.
God.
I know I haven't talked much about it. Part of it is because you don't want to jinx it. I still don't. Like, until we get done selling this house and getting in the next house, like, I don't know whoever out there has bought a house in the last however long, but they want a full DNA sample. They want to call, they done hit E up about 5 times. You know what I'm saying? They call E like, hold up. Now, what is it that you do when you got a line of work like this? The bank like, okay, hold up. We need to verify this. You say you do what again? You do YouTube. Well, oh, wait, what? They all confused. So, yeah, E, I appreciate you vouching for the fact that we do, in fact, have a company.
Hey, I was telling you, see, I had the opposite experience. I went up to get my shoulder checked out this morning, and they asked what I'm doing. I'm like, I work with Eric Thomas. And they looked at me like, so what do you do?
Oh, right, exactly.
They never heard the name. I'm trying to front, E.T., the hip hop preacher. They're like, yeah, so what exactly do you do? And who is he now? I'm like, all right, so let's just start this over. Let's start over.
You know what's crazy though?
All over again.
Avery and Trey, pediatrician, knew exactly who he was.
for real?
I'll tell you how it goes. He's like B-list celebrity, right? So it's like, it ain't full like LeBron James and everybody and their mama know, but it ain't like CD level where it's like nobody knows. So it's always this weird middle game that you gotta play. And shout out to all my guys at the gym, who I end up building a relationship with. But it's always like, hey, what do you do? And I promise you, Eric Thomas is like the 9th thing that come out of my mouth. Like, I'll be like, oh, well, consulting. Like, oh, okay. And sometimes they leave you alone. Then you say, some people say, oh, what kind of consulting? You say, what personal development, kind of in that space, training, just kind of. Then they'll go 2, 3, and 4 more. And I'll be like, look, E.T. or not? And probably 70% of the time, they're like, yo, E.T., oh, that's crazy. Matter of fact, the realtor who is representing the people buying my house came over. I told E, but she was a fan of E's work. And so it's like, it's in that weird middle ground territory where, and I don't even like saying it because then, you know, people like, you know, they start going in for about an hour about TGIM. I'm like, yo, I gotta go. So, but nah, man, this it's fun and the brand is growing. We just actually, Josh just texted Carl and I.
Yeah.
E is on Jay-Z's Pandora station, so that was major. So yeah, if you're listening to Jay-Z Pandora, the hip hop preacher coming on there, I'm like, wow, we are literally in the hip hop space. Like, I don't know if that means anything to y'all, but to have E come up in Jay-Z's Pandora rotation is a huge coup,
Hey,
I believe, for us.
Hey, even better, Josh said whatever the track was that played, mention both our names in there, so we might finally get our insiders coming up soon.
Oh, man. No, I got an insider now. You didn't see that?
Oh, that's
Frenchie,
right.
shout out
That's
to
right.
Frenchie.
Frenchie hooked you up.
Hey, announcement, hit the horn. Will, hit a horn for me. Give me a drum roll. Listen, man, I have an insider. Shout out to Frenchie, my insider. She got me some Motrin. Shout out to that terrible bed at the Omni. I woke up with a cramp in my neck and needed a little Motrin because that bed wasn't too comfortable. And yeah, Frenchie got me a Motrin, E. So and she bought me a shirt that said "I'm your insider." So yeah, I'm on it, and my whole family. So shout out to Frenchie. Frenchie always looks out. Shout out to her anyway, man. Like just
sure.
You know, always being present, showing love and serving at the conferences. But that was dope, man. And I don't know what it is.
You, BU, bruh, is
it's on a whole nother level.
Yeah, it is. BU, everything you need. It's a one-stop shop, bruh.
I'm talking about one-stop shop. Like literally, you know what? It was funny because the other day I was looking like Moose, you know, was doing, you know, like seating people. You got Nikki there. You got French. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just looking around at all the people, Steven. You know what I'm saying? Just like all the people that come and help. I'm like, yo, these are all BU members. And so people always like, yo, how do I get in y'all inner circle? I want to be down. I want to be down. I'm like, yo, everybody who's in our circle is literally from BU.
Absolutely.
They come like all the time. They show love. They help out. They volunteer. Like, yo, that's what's up. So shout out to the early BU plug. But yeah, no, what is it about the East Coast and these hotels though, man? I'm like, shout out to the Omni. It was a decent experience, but man, the rooms are so small. And I shared a room with Josh. I felt so bad for Josh. Josh had to use the TV nightstand as the rest of his bed. I'm like, unbelievable. I had to, like, Josh 6'8". Josh legs was hanging so far off the bed, I had to like dive over him to get to the bathroom some kind of way. I think we on a budget. Tay, because Tay put us in the same room.
You know
was
what?
like, look.
I was gonna say something. Bruh, that's crazy.
That's how you know we still grinding. That's how you know we still grinding.
I just want to say to all my parents out there, I understand why you don't put your kids on punishment, because you're going to have to be put on punishment. I get it now. I understand. I get it. I see what you're doing.
You can't watch TV neither, huh?
Yeah, right. You can't watch it because they're watching it. So Tay got put on the budget. And then I ended up getting put on the budget with Tay's budget. You know what I'm saying? So
nah, bro. I'm like, Tay watching the margins on them events. I'm like, oh, me and Josh. She said you and Josh sharing the room. I said, oh, it's connected? You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking like you got the little, that'd be cool.
Retract the letter. Retract the letter I sent for the beginning of the year. The letter that said all the stuff I said, no first class flying, no expensive hotels, all of that stuff I said, retract it, because now I'm in there, me and Dee, I had to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock, and sit on a chair, because there wasn't no room for me and Dee. The bed was so small.
I'm talking about the East Coast, the room $1,000, and it's about the size of a matchbox, bro. I'm like, wow. I used the bathroom and took a shower at the exact same time, no problem.
It reminds me, see, though, exactly the rooms in London. Like, you can see that connection for sure. It's like straight London, like no questions asked.
No, go on and come to the A, baby, where $200 a night you can have a penthouse suite.
Hey, I'm just saying, be careful when you send these CEOs. Be careful when you guys, you know what I'm saying, when you're looking at your spreadsheets and you're looking at budgeting and cutting budgets and you're going to bring people's salaries down. I'm being real. Like, really pay attention to what you're doing and know what you're getting yourself into.
Know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, how's that servant leadership
terrible.
treating you now?
Oh, I'm talking about terrible. Terrible.
Look, I know what I had said. Back up, well, 2019, we back to balling. Everybody back to first class. Everybody back to 4 or 5 star penthouse suites, all right? With an insider. Everybody gets their own insider. Yeah. Real quick, man, am I tripping or do y'all wives be sending some cryptic text, some passive aggressive text? I was the other day, I'm like, yo, it's not fair, like, and I don't know how to exactly put it, because you can't like go off, because you like, I don't know what she meant by that, but text messaging is the worst, because you can't pick up the tone. So I'm like, am I tripping, or do y'all wives send y'all some stuff? Like, let me give you an example. I literally like went through my phone, and I was like, okay, this ain't necessarily fair. So on Fridays, you know, Candace and I try to go out to lunch, especially if I'm going out of town. We got a conference on, you know, Sunday, whatever. I'm leaving out of town Saturday. We'll try to always make it a point to go to lunch. And we got a little spot that we like, not far from the house, that we'll meet up and go. And so the other day, I had so much going on, man. I had to go get the beard cut and go run and grab like a couple shirts for the conference, whatever. So I was on that side of town. So I text her, this is me. I said, hey, well, getting my hair cut on this side of town. Can we eat over here so I can go straight to my next meeting and run to the mall real quick? Her reply, whatever you want to do. I'm like, like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is that? Is that, like, how do I take that?
How was your communication before that? Because I got to get some context.
Fine.
Everything was normal.
Yeah, but I just didn't think whatever you want to do. I'm like, now I'm trying to figure out the tonality of the text. I'm like, whatever you want to do. So I'm reading it like, whatever you want to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not sure how to take it.
Like that.
Your text is dangerous.
No, don't read it like that.
After that, I texted her, I said, hey, can you pick up the kids from daycare? I'm running a little late on this call. She said, okay. Now I could be tripping, but I'm telling you, it didn't feel sincere. It didn't feel like warm. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, if you text me, hey, babe, I'm running a little late. Can you pick up the kids from daycare? I'm going to text back. Oh, no problem, babe. I got it. I'll see you when you get home. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to send something that feels a little bit more warm and fuzzy. But maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm being too sensitive because I feel like it's a shot of some sort. So I didn't know if y'all had text problems.
No, you being wise, bro. That's discernment right there. That's discernment. Because if you go the wrong way with it, it could end, you know, a whole weekend. It could tear up. Like, you could be
the whole weekend, bro.
You could be in Boston without your wife and your kids and not be able to bring that fire because a part of you is thinking about the argument.
And she gonna be there when I get back.
Yeah, no questions asked. So, but I will say this: you're blessed to have those text problems because I'm with D 24/7. So I ain't got to guess.
Right.
I ain't got to guess nothing. I know exactly what it means, the tone, the tonality, all of that is right here in my face. So
Speaking
I
of texting, he sent me a text the other day, and he had like a whole hour-long text conversation with me, and it was like, oh, my bad, see, wrong person. Bruh, he sent me like 47 lines. I was trying to decipher. I'm like, he was like, look, I need you to speak at the Women's Day at the church.
Tiffany. When I said Tiffany. And I'm so mad at him though, Carl, because I'm sending him 47 texts and he not saying nothing until I get to the end of it. I'm like, you jerk.
He like, look, Women's Day is, and usually I'm on the plane around that time, but I'm like, he's telling me stuff I already know. I'm like, why is he And I was like, y'all gonna just let this, see how long this gonna go on.
But he trying to over-communicate now.
No, what C was trying to do was make sure I wasn't saying that I wasn't supposed to be saying.
Oh, yeah,
Once he realized it was good.
You was texting the young lady from the tone. It had a little soft.
Watch yourself.
Yeah, no, it was all above board. I was just waiting to see. I was gonna have an intervention if I needed to. But it was all clean. It was clean across the board.
So he waited till I got to the 47th line to tell me, hey, E.
Yeah, I wanted to give you enough
accountability. Accountability
you know
at its finest.
Yeah.
Just in case.
You know what I did? I just copied and pasted and sent it.
Oh, at least you copied and pasted. I thought you screenshot it. Because the worst is when you send them in like individuals and you got to try to copy and paste all of them because you can't just copy and paste the whole text. You know what I mean? You didn't type it in one long text. So you got to go through. I just screenshot that joint like, here you go. I ain't got time to re-say this. I know Tay hated when I do that, but I'm like, yep, all right. Well, yeah, all right. So should we get to some actual factuals, man?
We always have to wait till you're ready.
I got to warm myself up, y'all. I've been running all day. Got people calling. You know, it's just crazy on the line.
Hey,
I got meetings. I got phone calls. I got to warm up.
I was going to say, give me a recap of the weekend real quick, though. We just talked about the hotel.
Oh, no, that's what E wanted to talk about.
Oh, yeah, let's get into that.
We're going to dive straight in. Oh. So I always know when E is ready to spaz out because I don't see him as much the morning of. Mm-hmm. So now I'm not saying he's not going to go crazy if I do see him, but I know for sure when he goes into that mode where he's not doing a whole lot of talking, somebody's head about to get ripped off. And so the other day, I don't think I literally did not see E one time until I was like on stage, like ready to make it happen. And shout out to Boston, great energy, great crowd, incredible event. But I didn't even see E, so I was like, oh yeah, I don't know what's going on, but he's about to snap. So then finally, of course, we get into the show, everybody doing their thing, E comes up, and I could tell by the energy he had, I was like, uh-oh, this is gonna be a rare one. And then I looked at Carl right after I thought that, and Carl leaned over to me and said, I'm nervous. I said, what's up? He said, E's first slide is of some lynchings from 1940. I was like, uh-oh, it's about to go down. And I have no idea where he's headed. And long story short, he ended up calling Josh Harriet Tubman, and let's just say it got wild, but it all came back, man. Right. And honestly, E, I think one of your probably most powerful messages that I've heard to date, like that energy in the room, I had the hair on the back of my neck was standing up. And, you know, the points that you made, and it's so crazy because I think the rest of us, we're on tour. Like, I'm touring with my presentation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm working on it, I'm refining it, I'm putting some stuff in, adding some stuff, taking it out, whatever. But it's the same presentation I'm giving, you know, city to city. I'm trying to, you know, teach them this information. For you to take it and totally flip it, and maybe I'll kind of introduce it and you can talk about it, but you talked about it completely different than any other city before. You talked about taking control. The conference is called Take Control that we're doing. It's an entrepreneurship series. And you really just flipped it on its head. So talk to the people about what you were saying in Boston and how Take Control was different for you this time than it was in any other city.
Oh, man, you know, and I feel sorry for the cities, you know what I'm saying, because I don't think it's the city that prepares me for it. I think it's what, you know, I'm actually going through in my personal life. And I just want to encourage every kid that's in school and like you hate school, man, I promise you, just do me a huge favor. Whatever they're trying to give you, just get it. You know, because it's better to have the tools and not need them. And then later in your life, you realize, oh, I need this tool. Than to be like, you know what, bump that. I don't need that. I don't know why math is important or science. Like, I don't know why that stuff is important, whatever. Bro, I promise you, all my young people that are listening to me, I hated English with a passion. It was the one class that I just felt like, man, it's just, like, I can't get this. I don't understand it. I would write and they would constantly say like, yo, it's not succinct. You did not stick to whatever it was supposed to be, my topic sentence, right? And I can't explain it to you guys, but when you know, the PhD especially, it's just like, you're writing the same thing over and over again. At least for me, the dissertation was a year-long process. So you're writing the same stuff over and over and over again. And what it does is, like, they just make you take all fluff. And y'all know pretty much, like, that 4-year degree, most of the papers you was doing, you probably was fluffing through most of that stuff, right? And then
most.
The PhD, he said,
that insinuates that some were done to the best of my ability.
Right. You know what I'm saying? You know, with that PhD, unfortunately, it's just like 1 point, and you got to drive it. And I just kept saying to myself, like, yo, E, what's take control? Like, each city is like, what do you mean? What are you saying? And this was the first time I felt like I really addressed the point of most of you are enslaved. Like, You are economically enslaved. You are, in terms of your time, you are a slave. And I think most people think, if I could just make $10 million, and for some people, $10 million does equal freedom because they have a clear
Raises
vision.
hand. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? But you look at some people who made it to the league, who might have made 20 million and lost it all. You know, so it's like
that's got to be the worst feeling in the world.
Oh, bro, it's got to be. And the way you wasted it, and to me, it's because you really thought that money was taking control. But it doesn't mean when you get money that you are in control of your life. And so what I've been teaching is like, yo, for real, y'all got to take control. And there's some people, you got, somebody might laugh at me, that's making $89,000 a year, but they have complete control of their
full
time.
control. Yeah.
Full control of their time, full control of their day, how they spend their day, full control of their spending. You know, they're not in debt.
Their mind, they're not stressed.
Right, yep. Bro, come on. Peace, you know what I'm saying? And so for me, this one was about like, yo, E, you got to get locked in. And you have to prove, I think the firest quote was, because they're watching me talk about, you know, the enslavement of Africans in American culture, and they thinking that's where we going.
Right,
you know, and then once we get to the point where it's like,
once you get to the point where you realize you a slave.
Right. Yeah. I'm just saying. And I think that's what hit them with the Harriet Tubman quote where I freed 1,000 slaves and I could have freed 1,000 more had they known they were slaves.
Yeah.
And so I think when we got to that point in the conference where people were able to say, okay, that, yep, check. Okay, he just said that, yep, check. Yep, oh, yep, check. Ooh, I didn't realize that this was a chess match. And he just checkmated me. And I am in economic debt. And I'm gonna tell you, the reason why, I think I was able to do it on this one is because when you brought Josh, you know, Alexis, when you brought Josh Hatch, when you brought Jamal, when you brought, of course, you know, you do your thing, but I think your thing is a little different than their thing. I think when the two of us were together, you know what I'm saying, just the way you're able to do both the information, but at the same time, present it in a way where it's still, you know, laughter, whatever, you know, it's not just the information. But as they were presenting Maya, I was like, yo, this stuff is fire. But here's the challenge. To an extent, Carl, by them speaking, they actually helped me to be a little bit more succinct, even in what I'm supposed to do. So it's like, yo, I got to set them up because you're hearing Josh 11 points. But you like, he ain't talking to me. You hearing Maya go hard and you like, bruh, she too aggressive for me. That ain't got nothing to do with me. And it's like, no. It has everything to do with you. And then when Jamal started kicking about real estate and how this is you looking like, oh, I don't do real estate. I don't know what he talking about. That don't got nothing to do with me, real estate. I don't have nothing to do with that. I'm over here or I'm doing that. And it's like, no. You don't get it. He's not really talking about real estate.
Right,
when you see Josh, it's like, Josh, what does Josh know? Like, my man grew up, whatever. Now, he did grow up the way you think he grew up, but in your mind, you're thinking, and so now, Carl, I'm like, oh, I get it. I have to make the connection and get them to understand why you really need this information. And I think before, you know, my presentation might have been good, but I felt like this time I was able to be that gateway, that bridge, you know, that passport, helping people to realize that you need to get from here to here, that border crossing, Carl. I was that border crosser saying, hey guys, I'm gonna be the bridge. You were here, but you need to get to them. And I think this time when they heard C and when they heard Jamal and they heard Chris and they heard Josh, I think it all made sense. And they walked away with more, I need to do this immediately. I need to do that immediately. I need to stop doing this. So for me as a teacher, I just felt like I set the atmosphere this time in a way I had never set the atmosphere before.
A picture of lynchings to start off the whole thing will change the atmosphere quite a bit. And the craziest thing in it, you know, is the fact that I think you did it in a way, you know, that's like some dangerous stuff to be touching. You know what I mean? And like, I think you did it in a way where it wasn't offensive to
at all to anybody,
to former slaves.
Yeah.
And I like how they said stop calling them slaves. You got to say they were enslaved. And I was like, wow, I thought that was pretty deep. You know what I'm saying? Like, does that make sense? I heard somebody I heard somebody say that, and I was like, yo, that's deep. You know, like stop referring to them as slaves. They were a people that were enslaved, and I was like, wow, that's pretty deep. But for what we're talking about now, you know, the people, you know, it wasn't offensive to people who were enslaved, and it wasn't offensive to people in the room. But you really did, you know, do a great job of drawing a parallel between getting your own freedom, like whatever that freedom looks like for you, because man, there are people who are, you are enslaved by a mentality. You can be enslaved by a paycheck, and obviously not in the way that we refer to in the 1800s. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Right. It was the utmost respect for those people who went through that, of course. That goes without saying. But man, you do have so many people who hate their circumstances, hate that they got to get up at a certain time, hate that they got to go punch a clock, hate the fact that you got to miss your kid's game over and over and over again because somebody telling you cannot leave. And I think, you know, that was one of the factors that drove us, I think, from leaving Michigan State. And it wasn't that it was a bad situation, but when somebody's telling you, hey, you can't, I literally remember the day, like think about this, y'all, E.T., Eric Thomas, I literally remember the day you got denied a request to go to like Jada's Nah, you went anyway. Nah, he went anyway.
Yeah, I'm not.
It was an award, right? Yeah, some award.
Yeah, it was like it was an award or something. I went with you. But I remember we asked if we could go, and the answer was no. And I remember the look on E's face as we were driving over there. You were like, you didn't say it then, but I think that's the day we were like, okay, it's over. And I don't know if I even realized that. I didn't even have kids at the time. But I remember, you know, you saying like, this is not real life. Like, we got to ask for permission to go to Jada's award ceremony. Like, I'm grown. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that might have been the turning point. But talk about how to take control. Because it's not, let's be honest, everybody can't just walk out of their job and be like, you know, to hell with this, I'm leaving and I'm gonna have my freedom, and you broke. You know, so talk about that balance between how you gain that freedom, but also continue to provide and take advantage of the opportunities maybe that you have in front of you.
You know what, let me say this though real quick, man. I think what hurt me the most about not being able to go to Jada's
Stop saying not being able to go. We went. You know what I'm saying?
About being denied the request.
I'm saying being denied. Yeah, being denied the request is a better way of saying it. Is that I knew, how hard we were working. I knew we was grinding, man, and we really had those children's best interest in heart. You know, the Jamals, the Tim Cities, Candace, Emily, just the whole, man, just that whole crew, Connie, Rachel, that we were working with. We had those babies' best interest in heart. And there were people, and I'm not calling out no names or disrespecting nobody, but there were people who were working the system to the point that they were able to get the summers off, and there were people who, had worked the system so much, because, it's a union, it's union, protected. And so there were people who knew the system, and was working the system. They were coming to work late, not showing up more. They knew how many sick days they had, how many mental health days they could get. And I'm sitting here like, yo, we doing it the right way. Like, and we're being taken advantage of. You can't deny them because they know the system and they work in the system and not really working. And here we are working, trying to do it the right way. So this isn't for those of you who lazy. Like, don't get on this podcast and you lazy and you trying to leave your job and you looking for us to give you an out.
A quick fix.
That group. Yeah, no, this ain't for that group. And understand something. We never really left. Like, we never wanted to leave the university. It's just like Jamal's podcast, and we can find out what number that is. See, I want to refer back to Jamal's for those of you who haven't heard Jamal, or maybe you heard Jamal, but you didn't apply any of your principles. We're going to find out what episode that is before we leave. And I want you to refer back because Jamal is doing real estate and making millions in real estate, a daycare facility, a security system. He's doing multiple things and never left the police force. So this isn't about leaving. And that's what y'all want us to tell y'all. You want an out. You want to hear E.T. say, man, leave that job. You know, leave that marriage. You know what I'm saying? Leave that thing you hate. I'm not saying that. In essence, what ETA is saying and what you're going to hear Jamal say is, take the thing that you know is your gift, right? That thing that CJ says that, you know, unique selling proposition, that thing that comes easy to you, that's hard to others. So for him, it's the branding. You know, for Carl, you know, initially it was the videography. For me, it was the speaking. Take that thing that you do and do it at a level of excellence. That the level is so high that it doesn't make a difference what ethnic background you come from. The thing is so deep that it doesn't make a difference what social economic status you came from. It doesn't make a difference what part of town you live. Like you operate at such a high level. So this isn't about what you should be leaving. This is really about what you should be doing. So this isn't an exodus. This is a genesis, if you will. This isn't about leaving. This is about becoming. This is about taking your game to another level. This is about doing some personal assessment. This is about stretching your gift. This is about going to do professional development, getting certified, getting an extra degree, spending more time. This is about learning a second language. This is about whatever it takes to be great. So we would have never left Michigan State. I'll be honest with you. Our plan was not to leave. We wanted to use that as an incubator. And this is why you know I'm not lying, because I'm still at Michigan State every Tuesday. You feel me? I'm still doing what I was doing almost 8 years ago, you know, before we left the university. So I think to answer your question, see, I think the first thing you got to do to be great, you know, or to be able to come out of a situation where somebody is imposing their will on you, and correct me if I'm wrong, see, but where our superiors were at that time, I think we have elevated beyond them. And I'm not trying to belittle anybody, but I'm saying you can't enslave us, because in fact, in terms of the work that we do, we've elevated ourselves way beyond you. And so there are those of you who are wondering, why does this person have a foot on my back? Well, because they're sweeter at what they do than you are. You know what I'm saying? Or why are these people controlling, you know, my finances? Because you can't pay your student loan because you ain't making enough to get them off your back. You know, whereas for myself anyway, I'm a lot older than the guys. I made some commitments and I don't have a student loan. So I don't have people calling my phone. I don't have people sending me letters. I don't have people garnishing my wages. Like I went above that student loan. You know, and there were other debts that I owed to people. Like, I told my son the other day, it's a dude that did some videography work for me. It wasn't sweet, Carl, but he did it. He played me, but he charged me $2,000, and I signed on the dotted line. When I blew up, Carl, I sent my man his $2,000. Why? Because if I still owe you, I'm still to somebody. See, I'm a slave. I'm enslaved to somebody. I still owe you that $2,000. So I paid off all my debts. This isn't a leave. I didn't file, and listen to me. You do it how you have to do it. I can only be honest about my story. I didn't do no bankruptcy. I paid everybody I owe, and I paid them what it was worth. I didn't say, since it took me 8 years, I'm only going to give you 50% of my money. I gave you every single thing I owed you so that I could get to another position. So for me, see, I think that's where it starts. And I want to say this. I want to hear from Carl on this one. I feel, see, because you and I got great, you and I and Carl got great, we got great as individuals. You know, you and Carl built y'all. I feel like because, and I want y'all to hear what I'm saying, I had to grow, C had to grow, Carl had to grow. But then C and I established a relationship where it was like, okay, E, I need you to do whatever. C and Carl established a relationship. Carl and I were doing videos together. So individually, we had to work on our own relationship and then our relationship with one another. And we worked so hard and became excellent at what we did, that we started to see people who were excellent in their area attracted to us. And so now all of a sudden, you got the Joshes of the world, and now we're doing the Solar Boy. You got the Jamals of the world, and now they're doing real estate. You see what I'm saying? You have all these different individuals who are great. And once we got to a level of greatness, we started to attract what we didn't even have in Michigan State, if you will. And I just think that's how you become great. You dominate your space, and then once you dominate your space, other people who want to be dominant, they get attracted to you, and then you guys just keep growing and growing and growing.
So real quick, episode 105 is the one that E referenced with Jamal. Stop, drop, and roll. Episode 105. But so E, what I'm thinking about though is it's almost like you have to fight against the system. And I'm not on no, like rebellious or I'm not on any of that. Yeah. But I'm just saying the system is. Okay. You go to school. I'm just saying, what do we tell everybody? You go to school, and not us as in us, but I'm just saying, like, this is what the world tells you, at least America. You go to school, the Caribbean, you get a degree, you come out, you get a job, and you work till you die. That's pretty much the information we've gotten over the last 100 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what we're saying now is almost, and help me out, is it completely contradictory to that? Are we contradicting that? Or are we just saying in addition to? You know what I'm saying? Because the reality is, most people are trying, those that aren't lazy, like he said, we're talking to those that are serious, and you are trying. You go get your law degree, you go get your medical degree, and you do come out with $200,000 in debt. You know what I'm saying? And you do go get a decent job, but you still in that spot. You get where I'm going?
Yeah, you in that spot, Carl, to me, because you went to school and you're still following a chart or a path that they told you. Mm-hmm. So to some extent, you still enslaved. My wife and I were having a discussion about Jalen getting his MBA. I'm like, yo, boo, I ain't trying to be funny, but I don't necessarily think Jalen need to go to school and get an MBA from a dude who not doing no real work, Carl. You know what I'm saying? Like a dude who probably would not end up anywhere in the radar of a successful businessman. You feel me? Like, at best, all he has ever done is theory about business. He has the slightest idea. So when Jalen finished sitting in his room, I'm not sure Jalen's going to be able to go out in the real world. I said, I agree with you, sweetheart. He does need an MBA, but he needs to be with Rod, who's building the pad in College Park in Atlanta, an apartment complex with 106 rooms. You feel me? With that one of them called Morehouse, is one of the rooms. Another one is called Clark Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he's building another one from ground up. That's who Jalen needs to be with. He needs to be with Jamal, who knows real estate like the back of his hand. He needs to be with Josh, who's built multiple businesses, real estate, security. Like, Jalen needs to be with individuals who are going to show him what is his plan, what is his dreams and his passion and goal as it relates to business. You know what I'm saying, Carl? And not, once again, you are following someone else's path, you're following someone else's dreams, and you're only getting the books they want you to read, Carl.
Right.
You're only learning what they want you to learn. Yo, this world's too big for you to give me some little small curriculum and tell me that if I go to take 80 credit hours from you, that once I come out, no. Let Jalen get in the real world. Let his classroom be, Rod said that he's building a construction, he's doing a new development from construction up. He was like, Jalen needs to be out here with me with the hard hat on. Jalen needs to be out here with me while the dirt is being picked up, not in somebody's classroom learning about business. And listen to me, for those of you who are listening, you may only have the classroom, and you need to start there, Carl. You may only have the classroom. You may not be connected to Josh. You may not be connected to Jamal. You may not be connected to BU, whatever. But I'm saying, as for my son, he doesn't even like school like that, Carl. So why would he make him go for another 2 years? Right. No, you get out in the real world, get you some real life experiences. And like I said at the conference, who cares what CJ says if you're just gonna take it and write it on a piece of paper? Apply it specifically to an area that's not working in your life. And that's what I want Jalen to do. I want you to go out there and do real business, make your mistakes, have some small successes, and then 10 years from now, you'll be able to say, I have lived experience, Carl, that you can't take from me, and I can make moves not off of just theory, but off wisdom. And wisdom and discernment is different. He said, in all you're getting, get wisdom. In all you're getting, get understanding. And how do you do that? When you're doing something that is unique to you, which is, as CJ always says, that's your unique selling proposition, the thing that comes easy to you and that's hard to others. So to me, I think nothing wrong with school, Carl, but if all you're gonna get is theory and no practice, then at the end of the day, you're not gonna have anything that's useful.
I'm gonna try to share this without CJ laughing, y'all. I'm gonna try my best. I was listening to this thing. CJ, please be quiet. So yeah, the stuff I was telling you about, the car, I was listening to this podcast, and this guy was talking about like just doing uncomfortable things, like, you know, trying to get to the core of who you are and not being concerned about nobody else. So the first one of the things he recommended, and see, shut up, go look at your kids, text somebody, do something. I'm gonna try my best to distract you on this one. But he was saying that one of the first things he started doing was this process called ecstatic dance. He would literally get like some kind of tribal kind of music or something like that, lights out in a room by himself, he said, and just let his body move, like just try to dance. Like it ain't nobody in there, it's just you, just let your body move. And he said he would do it pretty much till you got tired. Like at first he was like, it was just awkward, like you just feel dumb, like this beat is there or whatever. But he said over time, what happens is he's doing it 30 minutes to an hour now. He's like, there's some stuff that his body's doing just because he's allowing it to be free, no distractions, nobody watching, that would never happen if he was concerned about somebody else watching it. So it was just an exercise that he started doing, and he said now that thing has spilled over into his life now. He's doing it now in front of other people. I'm talking about just dumb. You probably just
let me
dumb.
find out Carl at the house in the basement twerking. Why ain't nobody watching? Let me find out Carl twerking. Let me find out Carl. You know what I'm saying, E? Let me find out he got a little Rihanna Barbados Caribbean music downstairs. Work.
I tried to keep him out, y'all. But no, to the same concept though, see, to what he's saying, the concept.
You exposed yourself now. You try to put some research data with it. I'm not buying it.
You told him to go downstairs, Carl. He couldn't resist.
Hey, I always wait to see when E laughs. That's when I know it's funny. When E can't hold it no more.
I was trying to hold it. Yeah, I'm trying to keep Rihanna. She Bayesian too. Work.
No doubt.
Hey,
Yeah,
but anyway, y'all get the
unbelievable.
point. The point is putting yourself in that place for real, where you're not, it's a cliche line, but you're marching to literally the beat of your own drum. You know what I'm saying? You're not following anything. You're being true to who you are, the vision you have for your life, and nobody else around you.
Twerking to the beat of your own sound.
Twerking to the beat of your own sound.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm done, y'all. I tried to keep him serious.
Listen, and if you want to twerk to the beat of your own sound, try to do it with Organifi, okay? If you want an electric dance like Carl is talking about with the most energy you've ever had in your life, man, try Organifi. You guys know the deal. Organifi, great partner of this podcast. Shout out to everybody in Boston who had the Organifi. Y'all heard us talk about it on the podcast last week. Organifi sent us how many, Carl? Hundreds
packets,
a bunch
of them,
of Organifi, man. We passed it out at the conference. I saw everybody with it, shaking it up in the drink, going after it. Man, got some great feedback about it. I got to say this. There was one young lady, you came up, and I know she's a podcast listener. I did not get her name because I was running. They were ushering me out of there. But there was a young lady, you came up to me afterwards, you had braids, and you said, hey, where's the Organifi? I actually went to go get the Organifi, and it took me a little minute to find it, but I came back with a couple packets for you. And I don't know, I gave it to somebody else and told them, I was like, man, she was around here somewhere. I described you. They said they would get it to you. Hopefully you got it. If you did not, email info@etinspires.com and say, hey, I was the one, because she came right up to me and was like, you guys said it's going to be Organifi here. Where's it at? And so I want to make sure I get that to you, because I did come back out of the back room and try to give it to you, and you were gone already. So hopefully you got it. But if you didn't, just remind me and say, this is the young lady who said I heard it on the podcast, whatever, and I'll make sure we ship you out a shipment of Organifi. But for the rest of y'all, go to the website, all right, www.organifi.com. That's ORGANIFI.com, and use the promo code SUCCESS, all right? You get 20% off your order, man. Try it. It is dope. Hey, here's what's crazy. You know, Candace, she was always a big fan of doing her, full juicing, right? She's got the fruits and veggies out and doing it every morning. I converted her. She would try the Organifi every once in a while, but I full-fledged converted her over the last few days, and she was like, matter of fact, I gave it to her like one time before I left to Boston, and then I came back, and last night she was like, can you make me an Organifi real quick? And I was like, what? And she was like, I was like, when did you start drinking Organifi? She was like, You gave it to me the other day, and I drank it every day since. I was like, how you feeling? She said she was feeling great. So I got my wife converted. That's the hardest critic. So now maybe the rest of you are ready to convert. Shout out to everybody out there who's already purchased. Organifi sent us a message and said, hey, you guys are rocking it. You're in our top 5 podcasts in the world with your listeners showing the most love and going and copping that Organifi. Shout out to everybody who's on that out there and making it happen. So Organifi.com. Appreciate you guys.
Hey,
real quick.
Hey, he just got onto the goal boy. Talk to me, E.
Man, Didi just said, say something. I'm going to have to save it to the next podcast because it's a whole podcast, see. But long story short, I don't think my grandma listening, but my grandma, I guess she listened to the podcast, or my dude listened to the podcast. So my grandma called like she wanted some Organifi. And I was like, what? You want some Organifi? And so she was like, she wants some Organifi. And I just like, I'm just going to keep it 100. I was just like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to be funny, but my grandma, you know what I'm saying? She still believe in the cold beer. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of was
my type of granny.
Yeah, I kind of was like, me and my grandma come up, we get the fish sandwich, and she get the cold beer, right?
Ooh, not a fish sandwich and a beer.
Oh, grandma got to have a cold beer. So I was kind of like,
I was born into the wrong family.
Yeah, I said, hold up. I don't know if I should get her the green one because I don't know if the green one go with the.
No, that balance it out. You gotta balance it out. You think the gold one tastes more like beer? Is that what you're saying?
I just saw gold and gold. The color was the same. So I'm being real. I was like, I'm gonna get her the gold. You know what I'm saying? And bro, I got the gold. And I drank the gold yesterday. Let me tell you something. The gold tastes like candy.
Oh yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
Oh, the gold was so good that I drank the gold.
No, you know what it kind of tastes like? It's got like a sweet potato pie kind of flavor to it. It's good. It's really good.
I'm about to try that in some milk,
turmeric,
y'all.
right?
I want to try
Turmeric.
turmeric.
Is it turmeric? I thought it was turmeric.
No, here's the thing though. I didn't realize that was the base until Carl called me, right? And Carl told me, bruh, see, that's why I said we got to talk about this later. I know Sean had already talked about it, but he never made the connection with the Organifi Gold. See, the deal is, man, I don't even have time, but when you talk about MSC, the inflammation, the brain fog, what else is it, Carl? Some other stuff. Memory loss.
Yep.
This specific plant root that's what it deals with, see? So as I went and looked it up online, I was like, yo, this the stuff Sean was talking about right here on that podcast. And so, man, I was geek, told Didi, and was like, yo, D, I'm gonna hit it with you regularly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that one taste, I like the taste of the green one, but some people will be like, oh, it's okay.
Better.
The gold one is, I've never heard anybody say they didn't like that one. The green one is, it's a little minty, like, it kind of tastes like a green tea a little bit, but that one is like
I don't know what kind of green tea you drink.
Yeah, no, that one is, Trey drink that one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, no, that one, and bro, and like I said, it's real value to it. Like, for real, people think, oh, y'all just trying to, no. We do not, bro, we got to go to bed at night. You know what I'm saying? We got to rest our head at night. And I promise you, what a sponsor is going to give you versus what they make is not enough for us to compromise our soul, bro. I promise you. So I was
How much we talking?
I was on the
There's
green.
3 people on this podcast, E.
Speak for yourself.
Right.
10 million. We on here pumping Budweiser.
And I'm just saying, I was on the green only because, Rondell would make me drink every day, like the green machine.
Oh,
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Then, of course, I would do the red because Rondell would do that beet mix too, the beets and the carrots or whatever, and I'll be honest, I was never really on the goal because whatever. But when I saw the connection between, Didi's health and that, I just was like, I can't believe. So I'm about to send my grandma the green too. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying for real, out of me, like trying to think of, okay, what should I send her? I actually blessed myself, which is crazy. So yeah, man, look, y'all, if you don't want to do Organifi, I'm just saying, be about your health. Like for real, be about your health. Take your health serious. You've heard us say we've lost loved ones. We have friends who are not as mobile as they need to be. I just had a friend who, man, has had a phenomenal career in the last few months, doing some phenomenal stuff, and had to take a break because, unfortunately, he had congestive heart failure. And so that just stopped everything. He just stopped this great momentum he had. And so now he's making a commitment to his health. He's going to turn it around, but he was just like, man, I should have been on top of this. So this is just another cry out, call out. Yeah, money is great. Big house is great. You know, career is great. Family is great. But if you don't have your health at the end of the day, you have nothing.
No, you're right. And I think we're going to actually get Sean's due back up on the podcast. So we'll get Sean back on.
Hey,
so listen,
real
man,
quick,
send
Steve,
your
before you go.
questions. Yeah.
Hey, real quick, before you go, they gave us our own page. I just looked it up real quick. So Organifi.com/success. Still use the promo code success. So Organifi, ORGANIFI.com/success. And then use that promo code success with it and save yourself that 20%.
Yeah, no doubt. What was I going to say? Now I lost my train of thought. What did I
You
say?
said some questions, my bad.
Yeah, Sean's going to be back
Send your
on.
questions.
Oh, yeah,
for
Sean's going to
yeah.
be back on. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So, yeah, send your questions, info@etinspires.com, man. We love hearing from you guys. Also, follow us on Instagram, S2S Podcast, man. He posted up the picture of him and Diddy at the game.
At the game, yeah.
Yeah, so if you guys want to see the fair foul with E at the baseball game with Diddy, that's there on the S2S Podcast page. And let me tell you something, Diddy don't look like she was too happy on the joint. So I'm looking at D, she looking at the game like, what is going on? So go check us out there. Also, if you didn't get a chance, we had a ton of people vote, but if you didn't get a chance to see the re-gifted gift, that's on there too, S2S Podcast. All right, real quick, this ain't no argument. I'm just trying to do my due diligence. Let's not even mention Jordan. What do y'all think? Let me say this. You know, the crazy thing is the NBA playoffs been super whack. Like every single game in these last four, you know, with the Final Four, every game been a blowout on both sides. Like with both teams winning. It's weird. Like you don't even have to watch the second half. Like the games are over by halftime. I was texting with Josh last night and I was like, this is the weirdest thing. It's like the games, like Boston blew out Cleveland twice, Cleveland blew out Boston twice, the Rockets blew out the Warriors one time and got blew out twice. I'm like, you don't even know what to expect. But one, you know, I do think it is, hopefully we'll see some better games here, but I didn't know, you know what I'm saying? I get a lot of people came up to me and was like, yo, I love hearing y'all talk about sports and hoops, and I know everybody doesn't, but give me a quick recap of the playoffs. I know you watched a little bit.
You know what? The one thing to me, I wouldn't say it's a bad thing, guys. But one of the things I noticed with like the Cleveland game, and of course not LeBron, because LeBron is performing at a high level, you know, every single time. And I guess that's what came out of it for me, is to see somebody like LeBron, you know, in Boston, in Toronto, wherever. He might have like had one game. I think he started off slow, maybe in Indiana and then here, but of course, you know, did what he had to do in Game 7. But I just see the difference, man, in good and great. Like, they're all pros, you know, so don't ever get it twisted. All of them pros. They're all 1%ers. But there's a percent in the 1%ers that I saw. And it's just like, yo, LeBron can put up points wherever he is. And I'm looking at these guys like, Carl, I ain't trying to be funny. I know, give Cleveland they props. They won last night. But what I saw in the first half, there was dudes from Boston missing dunks, bruh.
Yeah,
they
layups.
was missing dunks, layups. And I'm like, yo, do you got to be at the crib, like getting pumped up? Like,
No, remember we talked about that though.
I was gonna say,
Home court
the home
advantage.
court, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
bro.
and I'm
That's
talking
crazy.
about listen, man, listen. And I'm just 1 second, E, you can elaborate on it. But listen to what he just said. Boston was manhandling Cleveland in Boston. You change environments and it's not your home court. It's the same court, same basket, same height, ball, same weight, everything. But it's changed everything when you go on the road. And I always talk to my entrepreneurs about keeping home court advantage in your life. Whatever you need to do to keep home court advantage, because you perform better at home than you do on the road. These gentlemen are at the highest level of sport, like literally the highest level of sport, and the home court advantage matters that much, it still boggles my mind. I'm like, what is it? How come you can hit it? If you in Boston, the three is just wet. As soon as you come to Cleveland, it's like wow, you see how mental you know the game actually is. E. So I'm with you on that home court away thing.
Yeah. Hey, who was it? We did have a BU call. Who was it that did the BU call? I forgot who it was, but they talked about.
Our boy from the.
Tyrell.
Tyrell, he did talk about a couple of things, y'all, that just lends to it. He's just saying the fact that you're not in your hotel room. I mean, that you're in a hotel room. You know what I'm saying? Usually coming from your house. The drive is different. Your routine is different. He's saying, and again, back to what C just said, you got to be so intentional about making sure your routine is on point, because you could see just a slight alteration of a different location. Nothing else changed, like for real, just literally a different place, and all of a sudden, you can't function at the same level. It'll be interesting to see when they go back.
Is critical.
Yeah,
we need to go back and do a whole podcast on routine, because I really feel like routine is what allows me to thrive at a decently high level. Like I can tell you, man, if me and my kids get out the door 10 minutes late, I promise you, I feel like my routine is all off. I'm like, shoot, now I got to cut my workout a little short. Now I got to do this a little, you know what I mean? Like that routine is what allows you to really thrive and really go to that next level. So, we'll do another podcast on that.
Hey, let me just say this, because just in case we don't get to the podcast. Guys, when we did the assessment test, one of the things that came, to surface for me, and I guess I knew it, but never wanted to really be like honest about it, but the assessment was like, because you're such a high flamingo, you're so spontaneous that you're not disciplined, and it's so funny because people will be like, yo, E, you so disciplined. And I'm like, yo, that's weird. The test is right. Like I'm not disciplined like that. But what happens is I have had my routine for so long, you know what I'm saying, that my routine has actually, if it makes sense, see, my routine has actually turned into discipline, you know what I'm saying? Or it's turned me into a person I'm not naturally disciplined, but when you get up in the morning, when you have a certain routine, certain things you do, you can actually manufacture discipline when it doesn't come to you naturally. You know what I'm saying? And I just thought that was crazy when I saw the test. So
wait, explain that though, right? Just because I think that might have went over some people's heads. So you can manufacture discipline when you're not disciplined enough to have discipline.
Yep, you feel me? So I'm not, again, when you look at me, like for real, I'm a free-spirited person. When you look at, like, if I have to, back in the day, if I had to do a voiceover and it's, it's a script, you could just see how uncomfortable I was with that. It's just like, yo, that's not my swag. But what happened was, and I want to make it practical for you guys, it was one of those things where it's like, yo, E, you actually have the voice and the passion for it. You don't have the discipline for it. So what we can do to overcompensate for you is we just keep practicing. You know what I'm saying? And so we would legitimately just, I would watch TV, I would do stuff, or Didi would be like, yo, you saw that commercial, Eric? All right, you need to practice like that. Or you see how, because her thing, CJ's thing was the crescendo. It was like, yo, E, you just got one loud boy, like start slow, whatever. And we would literally have times where we would practice, we would talk about it, or I would get little small stuff with like the, what was that, guys, the NFL, inside the NFL, was that what that was, or NFL Sunday?
No, Sunday Countdown, yep.
Yeah, Sunday, NFL Sunday Countdown. And I would just do small pieces, but Carl and I would like practice. And it got to a point where now the voiceover work is not hard no more. And it was like, no.
After he almost lost our relationship a couple times over it.
And we almost losing it now with me just thinking about it. Losing it again. It's in jeopardy again.
He hated me. That boy, that's the last time me and he got into a real fight. That boy, he was like, hey, see, you want to come over here and do it?
It's like it's in your head.
You know what I'm saying? I just was like, I can't do it. Like I really felt like it's so formal. It's like putting chains, you know what I'm saying, on a bird, on the eagle. And so, but what happened, guys, is you wake up early, you know what I'm saying? You wake up early consistently, you pray, you run, you talk on the phone. It's like you get to a point where your routine actually dominates your natural character, if you will. and it takes over.
Yeah, you got to set some non-negotiables.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I lost weight and stayed with it. The gym is a non-negotiable. You know what I'm saying? I'll move a meeting. Y'all know, every single morning. I'm there. I don't care what else I got going on. I'm there. Like, it's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So there are some other things that are not non-negotiables that can go. But that is a non-negotiable for me. And I think that was a game changer when I start setting those non-negotiables. And I think for some people, everything is an option. Like, if I wake up and pray today, cool. If I don't, no big deal. Yep. And when you start setting those non-negotiables like E talked about, you know, it becomes a habit. How many days you have to do it to be a habit now, E?
They say the minimum of 21
or 30.
Yeah, minimum of 21. What was I saying? So I read an article, that just talked about, and I'll say this real quick, we could go on, but they were saying that a routine, what it does is prevents this concept called decision fatigue. They're saying throughout the course of the day, you're making decisions all the time. But with a routine, you read it? Yeah, they're saying with a routine,
it's talking about Zuckerberg, we're the same thing every day.
Every day.
Yeah,
so
they
you
said
don't
Mark
gotta think about
Zuckerberg wears the same thing every day because one decision of making, trying to figure out what you about to wear for the day. You only got a certain amount of good decisions you can make. So he was like, I'm just wear the same exact thing every day, and it takes the decision making out of that.
So they said literally,
that's actually really good.
Especially the morning routine. Like, think about it. If you're doing the same thing from 3 o'clock, if you do the same thing every day from 3 to 8 o'clock, 3 to 12, whatever, like, you're not really making decisions until noon, if you see what I'm saying. You're just going through your motions. Your body already knows how to do this. So now 12 o'clock or whatever time, you fresh to, all right, like, here's what we're going to do now. So it's just that concept, decision fatigue.
That's big.
Yep.
That's big. That's huge. Wow. Take that, y'all. Take that.
Decision fatigue. That's what we'll get when it's time to go out to the restaurant and I'm asking my wife where she want to go.
Yes, sir.
I'm talking about fatigue.
And you get that text that says, I don't know, whatever you want to do.
Or whatever you want. No, I saw somebody name the restaurant that was like, that was named whatever you want. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Like, that was the name of the restaurant.
You can have whatever you like.
You want.
Where you want to go eat, boo? Wherever you want.
Oh, well, let's go. You know what I'm saying? That's a great marketing concept. All right, let's see. Questions. Let me see. We got some questions, man. Shout out to my man. Oh, you know what? Somebody just sent me this. I wanted to read it while y'all were talking. So, this thing called Life on Instagram. It says, @ET, Take Control event was life-changing. So many gems were dropped. Him and his team gave a beautiful and powerful presentation. So many lessons learned. They literally gave you the blueprint to be successful, sharing step-by-step how they got to where they are. I left that event a different man. I went to sleep that night a different man than the night before. I felt alive. I didn't go there to get motivated or inspired. I went there to listen, learn, and take action. Take every bit of information and use it to change every aspect of my life, and that's what I'm going to do from here on out. You all are going to see a different Giovanni. Like Eric Thomas said, don't be a slave. Take control of your life. That was a IG post somebody just sent me from this thing called Life. I guess they were at Boston. And so you don't have to just hear it from us. See, people always say, you always say it was the best one. Well, now I got third-party confirmation, okay? We're getting better every time. It's a shame on us if it's not the best one every time we do it, because our goal is to get better every single time. So hopefully this is the best podcast you ever listened to. And I know you never heard a podcast where Carl was twerking, so this has to be the best podcast you ever listened to. Carl just in the bed, work. Send me a memer. What did she say right there? Send me. All I know is work. Let's see, my man Evan in Atlanta. How has self-development, I know you guys do self-development, but how has self-development played a role in your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, I think...
Yeah, go for it, Carl.
No, I was going to say, the biggest part is what E just said. The biggest part for me is, of course, you get better at what you're doing, but the key for me is who you attract. Like, that's to me the end all be all of it. You know, it's cool to do this and do that and all that, but you get to a point where you're attracting people that are better than you or better in some areas or whatever, just other people that are, you know, we talk about lions all the time, but other lions or eagles or whatever in their field. And now you got these people that you're rubbing shoulders with. Like, it's continual growth from that point. You know what I'm saying? Like, you work hard to grow on your own, but now you get to a point where, like, every person you talk to is like growth in the conversation. Like, every conversation you have is growing. So yeah, that's the piece for me.
Yeah, I think lately it's been different. Not lately, but my role in the company is now starting to change a little bit between the podcast and having to speak at events and stuff. So I have to make sure that I'm pouring into myself in a different way to where I can be in teacher and educator mode a lot more than I used to. Because back in the day, I used to be behind the scenes so much that I was learning in a different way, like a more quiet, like, okay, how to move this company. And now being out front a little bit more and being asked to share information and, things of that nature, I think I'm trying to improve myself in different areas. But man, personal development is everything. Like literally people get a coach for basketball. Shout out to Jamal, whose daughter's got a tennis coach. They go to their tennis coach. These girls are 10 and maybe like 13, and they go to a tennis coach 2 hours a day, every other day. And you grown and you don't have a coach for your life? Like that, like your life. You're like literally your life. You're just trying to go throughout life on your own. And that's why, for real, that's why we push BU. That's why we push getting involved with the community and these other things. Because, you need coaches. You need accountability partners. Like, nobody's perfect. And I think, personal development for me has been critical, not only just as an entrepreneur, but just as a man. You know what I mean? Just as a husband, as a father, all those things has been, absolutely critical. Yeah, I don't know if you want to touch that. You want me to move on?
No. Let's touch that. Yeah. I was just waiting to make sure you guys were done. I was really thinking. I was really stalling. Like, okay, I want to make sure that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think this through because I've been doing professional development for so long. But I think the one good thing for me is that it allows me to be relevant. I think it's hard in any industry to be in the industry for 10 plus years and still be relevant. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's easy for you to have fans that you had in the beginning of your career that kind of stick with you. But we're actually getting younger and younger. It's 11-year-olds, 8-year-olds. I run into 3-year-olds. It's like, what up? It's your boy E.T. And whether they can internalize what I'm saying or not, they're still fans. And it's something about what we do that connects with them. So for me, I think it's just being relevant, man. Just, it was funny. Somebody emailed me yesterday or DM'd me yesterday and said, well, actually it was on Facebook. It was a young man and his wife. And he said to me, Eric, thank you for what you go through, because based on what you've gone through, I can learn what you've gone through and apply it to my marriage, and just my life, he said. And so for me, it was like, that's why I need professional development, because each conference is not, some stale story I told you, 10 years ago. But I'm talking about, me and Dee Dee, and not the same story. I'm talking about, I got baptized. Fired. Yeah, right, not the same old.
Shots fired.
But I'm able to talk about, hey, where we are now. Yeah, you heard about the baptism a year or two ago, but now look at the progression. Like, look specifically at the areas that I'm growing. And I think that also helps people to realize, oh, okay, ETA, they ain't perfect. Oh, okay, cool, they ain't perfect. I'm not perfect. I need to continue to move forward. And then even my credibility, I'm like C said, I'm just going to be 100. My credibility with my wife, I wasn't going to share this on the call because, whatever, but Carl, legitimately, like, I know my weaknesses. While we were on this phone doing what we were doing, I was just dusting the white,
Ooh, that's 2 for 2. I saw you last week. That's 2 for 2,
Yeah, so I was in here knocking it out while we were on the podcast. Like, I don't want it to be one of those things where she like, oh, last week you did it, and I'm happy you did it, but I see it's not about to be consistent. And I normally try to do it on Fridays, but I'm not going to be here Friday. So I was like, just do it today while you're on the line.
No,
so
I'm trying to tell you, hire a housekeeper on the low,
I wish
bro.
I could.
What are you doing with your life, bro? I promise you. Just send Dee Dee out to the spa or something, and then just let somebody come through that joint.
I see what you're saying. Sneak and do it.
Oh, I've already got left standing at the pearly gates, baby. I might as well just go all the way in now. You know what I'm saying? Hey, come on, join the dark side, baby. Send her out to the spa and have a crew come through. And I'm talking about when she come back in, it's gonna look like a palace.
Just don't be too braggadocious when you do it. Just
you over there trying to be
off.
pure heart.
Right.
Let me tell you something. It ain't worth it. That's what I realized about pure heart. It ain't worth it. It's like the vegan diet. It just ain't worth it.
It ain't worth it. Word.
You know what I'm saying? What were we talking about? I'm sorry.
Personal development. Be pure heart.
You was talking something about wiping down baseboards like a servant. I'm like, I can't do it, bro. I got them in here twice a month. They come once every other week and just go to work. I'm talking about that joint be sparkling too.
Yeah, let's get it.
Let me see. Were you done? I'm sorry, I cut you off. Here come the hate mail. I guess we'll do a hate mail segment next week. You know what I'm saying? I get it ready. They gonna hate that one. Because he was about to say something so prophetic right there, and I cut it off. Talking about the pearly gates. Wow, unbelievable. I had some more.
Self-correct though. You self-corrected though, so that's cool.
Well, I try. I'm trying to learn.
They shouldn't need to write the letter. They shouldn't have a need to write the letter.
Yeah, it's so funny, man. Shout out to all my people who come up to me at the conferences like, hey, man, I actually think you're hilarious, and please don't ever stop joking. I don't know who says those things about you. Hey, well, it's a lot of, they're the same ones not coming to the conference, so I really ain't tripping on y'all. Because the people who come to the conference, well, I should say the people who come up to me, so maybe there's some at the conference who don't like me and they just don't say anything. All right, let's take a couple more.
On the podcast, I got to get see his pub. There was a dude that came this week and was like, I'm not here for E.T., I came for CJ.
Shout out to my man, Willie. Yeah, his name was Willie. Willie was like, yo, I'm here for C. Made my day. You know what I'm saying? Made my day. And I got an insider. Watch out. I might go start my own podcast.
It's a shift.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna start my own joint. Me and your grandma, we just drink beer and do a podcast.
But E, how old is your grandma? On a serious note, how old is she?
Probably like, she gonna kill me if I get it wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I
like
promise she looking good too, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that beer got some healing properties in it. What brand is it?
What brand beer?
I'm drinking the wrong brand.
I think it's Miller.
Mine got me with a gut. Your grandma looking younger.
Yeah, no, that's real.
You said Miller? Oh,
I think it is. I have to call her and ask her, but I think it's Miller Lite.
Oh, it's light. That's why. That's why she looking younger. Light beer don't count. That's like water.
Let me say something. I got to be honest. I got to call her because she's been drinking it for a long time. I don't think Miller Lite was out when she first was drinking it, so I got to ask. I just said Miller Lite because it sound better. You know what I'm saying? It sound better for me to say that.
Oh, yeah, light beer is good for you, actually.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All right. This is a good one, E. How do you give others, how long do you keep pouring into a relationship even though there might not be mutualism?
That's a personal, you have to decide that on your own, you know what I'm saying? But I would say this to you, and this has nothing to do with that individual. I want to make sure you understand that principles are principles. So it has nothing to do with your friend and your feelings, but you have to know when you get to a point where you're giving and it's becoming emotionally, mentally, physically draining, you owe it to yourself and your friend to cut it. And again, listen to what I'm saying. I'm not on the negative stuff. Y'all got to understand, I'm not on the negative stuff. As a leader of an organization, as a husband, a father, friend to some, son, pastor, I have to be as energized as possible. It's like I can't be in lack and run a church. Like I have to be in a position where, if we need something as the pastor, I have it. So you can't be in lack and be helpful. It's not possible. So you can't emotionally lack. You can't physically lack. You know what I'm saying? You can't lack. Like you look at us, when we travel, bro, that's a lot. You have to be healthy. I'm not saying you have to eat a certain way, but you have to eat a certain way. You have to work out. There are things that you have to do so that when people are counting on you and they call you, you can come through. So there are conversations that I don't get in, not because I don't want to be in them. Like I'm a relational dude. I want to be in conversation, but I realize that a part of who I am is being energized, pumped up, hyped, amped. So there are certain conversations that would drain me. So I got to just be like, nope, not this one. So you got to know when you're dealing with your friend, okay, this is too much. And I never forget Dee Dee saying, yo, we don't have to stop giving, but we got to put a limit on it. I remember that, see, because nobody ever told us when we got to a different place economically that it's a responsibility, but you have to still have enough. You have to, like, because people say all the time, bro, you can't give it to me, you got money. I need money for the next 10 years, see? I don't just need money for this weekend. I'm not living from check to check like you living. I have a different philosophy.
Right.
So you don't care if you ain't got no money in the bank. That doesn't bother you. I'm running a company. So for me, it's just like when Dee Dee said that, she didn't say stop giving, but she said, how much are we going to give monthly? Put that there, and then after that, you have to stop, Eric. You can't give all our money away. You feel me? We are needed for something. So I'm just saying, give away as much as you can to your friend. But once it gets to a point where you're going from half full to half empty, then you probably need to stop.
When does the actual budget recycle? Because I need to borrow a couple dollars. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to figure out when that monthly renew. You know what I'm saying? I'm buying a new house, so every dime helps.
I'm talking about every dime.
You know what I'm saying? Let me know when y'all re-up on the month.
Good. Hey, for you, there is no expiration date.
Give me a decent interest rate. Hey, this next question comes from, shout out to my man Elijah Rubin and the Master Self Sundays crew. Man, Elijah is out there in Phoenix, Arizona. He actually has a crew of people that get together on Sundays and listen to the podcast and talk about it and apply the principles and, you know, discuss the content. And I think that is so dope, man. I really do. I think that's a dope concept. Elijah's in the real estate out there just doing it big, man. Look him up on Facebook, Elijah Rubin. Just shout out to them for always getting after it. If you're in that Phoenix area, hit him up, tell him you want to come by his Master Self Sundays. So they had a question, and this one says, E.T., what's the proper ratio between learning new skills and executing and mastering the ones that you already have?
Y'all know me, I'll read one paragraph of a book. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm the right dude to ask, but it's funny. Yesterday, Francia, when she came over to study, I had given her 10 nueve palabras, and she was like, no, I'm not interested in you giving me 10 new words. She was like, until you can master the 3 that we studied last week, I am not interested.
How is the Spanish going, by the way? We ain't got an update on that in a while.
Carl see me sometimes. He'll see me sometimes. I reserve it for those who speak Spanish. I don't just be walking up on English people speaking whatever.
Well, no, I'm saying you haven't updated the podcast listeners. They want to know.
Oh man, guys, let me just be real. Yeah, it's going phenomenal. And for those of you who are learning anything new, I'll tell you where I am. I'm past the fear. I'm past the shame. You know, it's like you don't want to say certain things publicly because it's like you don't know it. So people gonna joke you, you know, and I'm past that point. And who
would do such a thing as to joke you for getting it wrong?
Right. Hey, it sounds like twerking in the public. See, that's what it sounds like to me. Twerking in public.
In public, but for real, as Francia would say, oraciones simple, and it's just simple sentences. You know what I'm saying? She like, I don't want to hear no long drawn out paragraphs. I don't want to hear you trying to preach. She was like, yo, let's master the simple. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's get the simple sentences down packed.
At what point do you think you're going to be able to do a whole message in Spanish?
A whole message,
yeah,
probably.
Just like the whole Take Control you did the other day, do it in Spanish.
Yeah, no, that's gonna take some time. But to be able to do a message, probably my goal was a year. When we started the 120, I want to be able to, when we do it again this year, like legitimately, you know, encourage those individuals who started the 120 last year and just be able to say, look, guys, it's real. The 120 days straight, we not playing.
It's a 100-day challenge. You put an extra 20 on it this year.
It seems like you trying to upgrade it this year.
Maybe we should do 120. I speak it into existence, bro.
Let's get it.
Yeah. But I do want to be able to prove that. But I'm saying I can legitimately, memorize. You know what I'm saying? Like I know it enough. But the challenge that I'm trying to get over now is, as she always says, pensar, solo pensar en español. And I don't think in Spanish. I still think in English. You know, so that's the challenge right now because, you know, in Spanish, the verb is dominant. In English, the noun is dominant. You know, and there are a lot of articles that go in front of, you know, like los niños. It's a lot of articles and just like you'll see voy a. and I doesn't mean anything, but it's just saying to go. So it's just it's a different language where there's a lot of similarities, there are differences. And so I'm at the point now where it's like I got to learn to stop thinking in English and think, you know what I'm saying? In
I'm not gonna lie, I'm burnt out hearing you trying to explain it, let alone trying to learn it myself.
Let me add something real quick though, E, to the question itself. It depends on your definition of mastery. You know what I'm saying? Like, because again, E could get up here and say a couple of words in Spanish, and that's a level of mastery. But if you're talking about making a living from this thing, or you know what I'm saying? So I think you got to
impact, guys.
Right, impact.
And yeah. Because here's the crazy part: when we were together, it was Nikki, myself, it was
you had Jorge,
yeah. His wife. It was a few people, and this one gentleman. It was so smooth. He's Dominican, and man, Dominicans, man. I love Spanish, period. But anybody know anything about the Dominican language? They sing. They don't speak, bro. They sing Spanish. You know what I'm saying? So so my man came up to us, and him and Jorge was really getting at it, and they was like, "Yo, why don't we do a Spanish BU?" And I was like, "Oh yeah," you know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean by mastery, Carl, is just being able to go, and help, individuals. Not like you said, not just get up and say some words, but like not even preach, but like legitimately be able to impact, in another language. So yeah, see, to answer your question.
Okay, cool. What was I gonna say? Oh, Carl, do we have a promo code or something we can give out for BU?
We always got a promo code. Let's just use breathe, the word breathe, and we're gonna do so BREATHE, breathe. Let me make sure y'all got it.
Yeah, get the E on there. Get the E on there.
Hey, and with that one, guys, you'll save 50% on the first month. So any of our memberships, you put that code in there, you save 50% on the first month. So go ahead, check it out. I tell people all the time, like, if for any reason you don't like it, we not holding you to nothing. You can leave, but I'm betting that you ain't going nowhere.
That's how you know. Let me tell you something. That's how you know the product is good. If you sign up, you can leave at any time. All these other programs, 6-month commitment, a year commitment, because they know you're gonna get in and figure out it's not good and try to leave, and they got you held up. You can't go nowhere. We literally have said you can leave whenever you want, and we have one of the highest retention rates of any online training program in the world. Why? Because it's great quality. So the number one question people ask me is, what is BU? What is it? It is literally, to me, the best personal development training system in the world. There's over 500 videos from Eric Thomas on there, personal training videos. We have Sean Stevenson, one of the leading authorities in health and fitness in the world, on there, who has modules on how to get your health up, a diet plan, fat burn. Like, this is, you guys know, Sean will be on the podcast in a minute. You guys know him, you know what he's about. We have, shout out to my man, Rob Wilson, a very professional financial advisor who has financial courses on there. We have marriage courses in BU. We literally have parenting stuff on there for parents. Like, we have everything you can imagine under one roof. Everything for your personal development needs. And so if you want to not only get on there and get the information, but even better than that, you get connected. Imagine being connected to a community of people who all listen to Eric Thomas on a regular basis. Yeah. Like, just think about that for a minute. All of those people are in the fold because they believe in what ET stands for. They believe in the grind, the hustle, the work ethic, the character. So if you're tired of being around snakes and shady people, and we just don't attract a lot of shady people, guys. I'm just being real. Like, by the nature of who E is, he repels those people looking to get over on people and snake people, like, because they see him and they know they can't, they know they can't get to him. They know he will repel them. And so you can join a community of individuals who literally are looking to go to that next level. And that's what we have at Breathe University. Carl just gave y'all 50% off the first month. BreatheUniversity.com. Use the promo code BREATHE, man, and join us. Imagine you listening to this podcast right now. You could be on the phone with us on Sunday. On the phone with us come next Thursday. We are on there. This is not one of those programs where you sign up and E, CJ, and Carl, and Josh, and Jamal, and everybody disappears, and you talking to Leonard, Steve, Tim. Like, no, you got us on there on a regular basis,
Jake,
man. So
from State Farm.
From State Farm, right? Jake from State Farm. Exactly. You're not getting Jake from State Farm. So BreatheUniversity.com, promo code BREATHE, man. Shout out to y'all, everybody who's already in BU. I always make a note to say that, man, because we have thousands of students that have joined us already, man, and they are a family.
What about those that travel with us everywhere?
Oh, everywhere.
Every
Shout
event.
out to them.
Oh, bananas.
Yeah, I got my brother's dog over here, and I think she ate. What do you, she's over here. Okay, that's why I don't have a dog. The dog looking at, I think the dog choked on something. Lord have mercy. Yeah, no. What happened? E, I'm sorry. I don't know if y'all could hear that.
I just saying shout out to all the people that follow us. You know, not just go to the
Oh,
conference,
yeah,
but they
yeah.
follow us to help us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I'm talking. That's the fam. That's the BU fam, man. Like literally, shout out to you guys because they roll with us everywhere. And these are like, this is how you get in the circle. Like I said, we on first name basis with everybody.
Bruh, Steven picked us up at the airport.
Basis.
I'm telling you, we walk out the airport and Steven sitting right there. Hey, y'all, come on.
Yeah, all just join the BU. And so, yeah, that's the network, that's the crew, that's the gang. Come join us, man. We appreciate you. Look forward to you coming in, taking that next step. Somebody said the other day on the BU call, like, man, I listened to the podcast for a year and a half, and I just decided to join. And matter of fact, for those, Carl, can we play that clip from Thursday? I want to hear the clip from Thursday. Somebody was talking about BU and what it did for their business. Let's play that real quick. We'll come back with the nugget of the day.
Okay, so my intangibles are, for my preschool, I have a lot of special programs that other companies do not have. I also do some free monetization. For example, I do free tutoring in the community. So that brings in older siblings. So we tutor them for free on Fridays. And it's like a win-win because when they come in for the tutoring, some of the parents enroll their younger siblings. So I do that. Wow. My branding is pretty tough right now. I actually used CJ's, what did he call it? Unique selling power. What did you call it, CJ?
Unique selling proposition.
That's it. So I've been trying to separate Timeline Academy from everybody else in the city, and I've been looking for ways to brand myself differently. Mm-hmm. So everything that I'm doing on a small business is corporate level things. So I'm on billboards, I'm at fairs, I'm at huge job fairs and things of that nature where other people are simply not there. So we're really, really separating the Red Sea right now.
Love it. And how is that going so far?
Oh, it's going great. My numbers, I think I have about 25 new kids in 1 month.
Oh, love it. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Yep. And I know how much y'all charging up at them daycare, so I know you're doing well. You probably could join Tide and start lending out some money. No, that's awesome, Chantel. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad you now. Hey, I'm glad to hear that you're taking the information and making it work. That's what this is about.
All right, so there you have it. Again, third-party testimonial, man. We appreciate you guys listening and joining us on the podcast. E, go ahead and hit him with that nugget of the day. Let him know what's up so we can get out of here and get busy.
Yeah, see, so shout out to my boy Mike Nelson, who's trailblazing at the moment.
Game Changers.
Yeah, he's
Game Changer Squad.
He's doing it. Yeah, so he said something to the point, it's going to be hard. Do it anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to get tired. Do it anyway. You're going to wake up certain days and you're not going to feel it. Do it anyway. You're going to wake up someday, it's going to rain. It's going to be cold. Like, do it anyway. Rain, sleet, snow, whatever. Do it anyway. So that's my message to you guys. We probably are a little bit motivated than most people, but I guarantee you, see, Carl, myself, it's days we not motivated. It's days we don't want to work out. It's days we don't want to eat right. Plenty of days, y'all, I don't want to eat right. I still love chicken, right? But I made a commitment, and guess what? I got to do it anyway, even though I don't feel like it sometimes. I got to do it anyway. Sometimes I get up at 3 and I'm pumped. Sometimes I get up at 3 and I'm like, go back to bed. But I got to get up anyway. We shot a video this morning at 6 o'clock on the road. Bro, I wasn't feeling it. I didn't even feel like going outside in the cold. But guess what? I did it anyway. So if you want to separate yourself from the good, you want to separate yourself from average folks, like for real, you're just looking to do that thing that's going to take you to the next level. You don't have to buy anything, sign up for anything. I'm telling you, if you get to a point where you learn to do some of the stuff you don't feel like anyway, man, you're going to go to the next level. So it's your boy E.T. saying, for real, if you want to make the rest of your life the best of your life, when you're not necessarily feeling it, but you know it's principle and you know it's the right thing to do it anyway.
Hey, appreciate that nugget of the day. E, y'all go to iTunes, drop us a review. We love you. We'll see you next week.
I want you to focus on here right now. Don't you worry about when you get home. You concentrate on this opportunity. You don't worry about tomorrow. You concentrate on this opportunity with all your might, with all